It was an incredibly clickable story. A Harvard professor badgering a beleaguered small business over a paltry $4. After Boston.com broke it, the story went viral with a vengeance. But then, at its peak, the website went too far. WGBH News reporter Anna Riley has more.
For Boston.com, the testy email correspondence between Harvard Business School prof Ben Edelman and a local Chinese restaurant was clickbait gold. When Edelman was overcharged $4 for takeout, he demanded restitution.
I want to be treated fairly and honestly, whether I'm at a big business or a small one.
But in a series of increasingly testy messages, Edelman said restaurateur Ron Dwan's offer of a simple refund fell short, writing at one point, "The more you try to claim your restaurant was not at fault, the more determined I am to seek a greater sanction against you." The press ate it up.
The back and forth gets pretty ridiculous.
As the story went global, Boston.com kept chasing it aggressively. But then the website goofed, claiming that Edelman sent Dwan a racist message and then pulling that story. Beat the Press hears that Boston.com honcho Corey Gottlieb took responsibility in a staff meeting, saying, "I just got a little overzealous and a little aggressive, and I think a little greedy, honestly." Then another bizarre twist. As Boston.com deputy editor Hillary Sargent was pounding away at the story, she was also hawking T-shirts online that mocked Edelman and sided with Dwan. After we contacted a Boston.com spokeswoman, that merchandise was pulled, and the backlash began. Apparently, the public's appetite for shaming includes the media, too.
So did Boston.com get a little too giddy about the story? Here to hash it out are Justin Ellis of the Neiman Journalism Lab, Adam Riley of WGBH News, Callie Crossley also of WGBH News, and Dan Kennedy of Northeastern University. Well, I've been saying that from a news site that finds no misdeed too petty or too small to put on its front pages, both in the newspaper and in the website, they should be reporting on this story themselves. That is journalistic malfeasance, that T-shirt. Hawking, first of all, she takes sides in it, you know, and secondly, she's trying to profit off a story that she's covering and a story that she made go viral. She even posted something, a Vine, with her 4-year-old son that said, "Mommy won the internet today." I mean, this is just beyond. And by the way, Hillary Sargent used to work here. I'm personally very fond of her. You know, she's kicky, she's funny, she's smart, but this is way off base.
You know, when you said, did they get too giddy, that's exactly what happened. And we've all been in this situation where you have a big story, you're breaking news, you think this is great, and you just start enjoying yourself a little too much. And that's when stuff like this happens. Now, you're absolutely right about the T-shirt. The T-shirt is outrageous. I don't really think she's trying to profit from it. I think she thought it was a joke, but it's not a very good joke, and it really makes it look like they're out to get this guy. It's just bad news all around.
Well, I think if you put up a site to sell T-shirts, it's not for me to intuit what your intention is. The result of it is it looks like commerce, and that's the story. And then you're the editor, and that's just bad business all around. I'm frankly quite shocked by this. I know we shouldn't be shocked by these things, but I frankly am. I just think that's over the top. Not to mention the fact that, as you look at the story itself, well, the guy has a point.
Yes, he does, Kelly. He's right.
I just have to say that as we're going along.
I've been saying that all along.
You also got to view the screw up with the T-shirt, which I totally agree was a big screw up in the context of that story they had to pull, alleging that Edelman had sent racist emails. Because that, if you are feeling litigious, if you're the target or the subject of a story that makes an erroneous claim about you that's then withdrawn, and you can point to a T-shirt basically saying this news site had chosen sides and had decided they were working against me, that's a dangerous combination, which you know, I think is something that they are probably worried about over at Morrissey Boulevard. I do think that the racist email story in isolation, I actually am a little sympathetic, because what they had there was a story that fit their narrative. They had come up with a great narrative that was working for them. They got a tip that seemed to completely fit it. They jumped the gun. They didn't vet it enough before publishing. I can think of other sort of old media examples, including the Globe. And remember that big dig ceiling tunnel whistleblower who turned out not to have been a whistleblower. Other good outlets have done that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the difference between confusing something that's jumping on the hog pile versus something that's continuing coverage. I mean, every news organization wants a second and a third day story off of something. Whether a story about somebody's takeout order gone wrong really merits a second or third day story is up for debate. I think overall, though, I'm gonna side with Dan on this one, in the fact that it seems to me mostly like a joke. I mean, if we want to blow this out and say that this was an attempt at commerce, that seems embarrassing at worst, silly at best, because it's a cheap t-shirt. This seems like the type of thing that, frankly, a lot of online editors do for other publications, other websites, where they just want to sort of take advantage of something that seems like it's a meme, that can travel online, that can create a life of its own. And so I don't see any problem with that.
You guys are being too nice.
But I would say, but she was charging for this.
And also, they put every single misdeed of every single person in this city on the front pages of the paper. This is a misdeed. And, you know, Mike Sheehan commented on this today. He's the CEO and digital and
saying they
chief
don't comment
operating.
on policy,
this is
personnel
not
matters.
a personnel matter. This is a news matter. Where's the story in their paper about this?
That's right.
This is a misdeed.
I agree with you completely. And to pick up on Adam's point, although I do think the T-shirt was intended as a joke, everything you said about it in terms of legal hazard is absolutely correct.
And it wasn't funny. It was vulgar.
No, it's
it was
not
dumb.
funny.
Well, it can be vulgar and dumb and be a meme. I can agree with Justin on that part. But my point is, it wasn't just put up and said, hey, you want a copy, you know, you want one, I'll send it to you. It had a price tag. Now that's commerce. That's where I grew up. If you put a price tag on
we
it,
can put a price tag on a lot of the things.
No.
The Globe has a movie being made about it. Isn't there a price tag attached to that as well?
But it's not attached to their story. From their story.
Listen, I think that overall the biggest thing here is that this is a story that should have had an expiration date on it. It went entirely too far. And let's just say what it is. They got greedy. The story was huge. It was a very big hit. A lot of the staffers talking about it on social media. That's fantastic. You know what? Staff should be chasing things that will get people's attention, but not at the expense of all the things that they did for this.
And it's worth reiterating that Corey Gottlieb from Boston.com, you know, one of the higher-ups there, said, I got greedy. He took the responsibility.
And we heard the
from
tapes. We should
milking
say
it.
we have a tape recording of their editorial meeting, which we opted, by the way, not to put in our piece because we thought it was journalistically unethical, so we didn't include it.
I think that Justin's point about, you know, trying to push a story beyond its natural sort of expiration date is a really good one, because you get a big hit like this, something, you know, goes quote unquote viral, and you just want to milk it, and sort of you look at it like a venture capitalist almost. How much more can we get out of it?
You want to keep the juice going
until there's nothing.
Okay, but
that means you take it too far. The first story was actually fairly straightforward.
It was.
I just want to say that there's a possibility of going too far, but this had all of the elements of a story that you could take too far. So I want to give them that bit, you know, because you got a small business, a Harvard guy. Everybody yells at the Harvard guy. Come on, you know, and $4 in a Harvard guy, that seems ripe to do a story for. So I don't blame them for saying, hey, there's another twist to this. There's another twist. I really don't. I'm just saying this other stuff. Really?
No,
come on.
I know. And I agree with Adam that although in retrospect, you look at the racist emails and say, I can see evidence that these are fake. That's in retrospect. I probably would have been taken into.
Yeah, I might have been.
Yeah, I can see how that could have happened. But the T-shirt, come on.